The City of Bristol, providing beautiful parks, economic development, and a family-friendly community.
All right, at 6:45, I'm going to call the joint meeting on Tuesday, June 14th, Flag Day to order, and let's honor the flag right now with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So Marina and I, first time working together here.
This is
too.
Mark. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but I heard recording in progress, and I cannot hear you guys.
Can you hear me now, Mark?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Good? All right.
Yes.
Marina, I'll work with you on this too. I'll have you read the agenda items for me. Number 1, in the joint meeting.
Approval of minutes of the regular joint meetings on May 10th, 2022 and May 16th, 2022.
Second.
Any changes, amendments, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 2.
Number 2, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, and in the absence of objection, in a single motion, move the resolutions presented under items 2A through 2X inclusive of the agenda of this meeting, making appropriations and authorizing borrowings for the following capital projects: Fire Station Number 3, E.G. Stocks Playground Casey Field improvements, Page Park Revitalization Phase 2, School Technology Network Replacement Upgrade, Northeast Middle School renovations, Broad Street retaining wall, landfill erosion cap repairs, Jerome Avenue Bridge replacement, Mellon Street Bridge rehabilitation, North Main Street streetscape improvements, Park Street streetscape improvements, Riverside Avenue streetscape improvements, the reading of said resolutions into the minutes to be waived, and the full texts of the resolutions as presented at this meeting to be incorporated into and made a part of the minutes of this meeting, and to recommend approval of this action to a joint meeting of the City Council and Board of Finance.
Second.
And
Great. So we have Cheryl as the second. And just a quick comment here, and we can open up for other discussion for lots of people watching now. We just put this through a special Board of Finance meeting. All of this has gone through our budget process and been talked about quite a bit. And so we are expediting that, and thanks, Marie, for that motion. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Hearing none, then we'll,
I
oh,
did have
go ahead.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that actually item number 9, though, the resolutions? Where 2 was the consent calendar?
Right.
So,
So we jumped ahead.
okay,
So-
because she said item 2. I just want to specify it's item 9. Okay,
So we are,
we're still,
I
Yes.
think, good now, but
Yep.
this will be a roll call vote as well. And we're just seeing if Councilwoman Tyler can get settled, and then we'll do a roll call vote. Marina, when you're ready.
Heiser,
Yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Lusitani,
yes.
Mace,
Yes.
Mykowski,
Yes.
O'Brien,
yes,
Olson, Paniotto,
Yes.
Smith, Tebow,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and Whitford.
Yes.
Mayor is yes.
And Mayor.
That's all right. It's unanimous now. Very good. That's a word. Okay. Oh, yeah, so let's go back to number 2 and do the consent calendar. Go ahead, Cheryl. 2, consent calendar? We kind of skipped over, correct? To make a motion.
So I make a motion to approve the consent calendar items A through I.
Second.
Yep, and I didn't ask if anybody wishes to take something off the consent calendar here. I don't think we have anything. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item, which is, I can't read it, sorry.
Three.
Item 3,
Yep.
to transfer $1,705,722.74 of uncollectible taxes, $1,016,670, no, sorry, $1,016,678.27 for motor vehicles, $513,852.34 for a supplemental motor vehicle, and $175,192.13 for personal property.
Second.
Motion
Oh,
to
move
approve.
approval.
Okay,
Thank
now
you.
a second.
Second that.
Sebastian gets a second. Any comments, questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to number 4.
To make transfers totaling $23,925, $17,667 from the general fund contingency account, and $6,258 within assessor's operating budget for postage, schooling, and regular wages.
Move approval.
Second.
I'm going to give it to Markowski. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 5.
To make transfers totaling $1,385,605 from the Equipment Building Sinking Fund contingency account for the purchase of capital outlay for various departments.
Move approval?
Second.
Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 6.
To transfer $185,025 within the Equipment Building Sinking Fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 7.
To make an additional appropriation of $185,025 within the Capital Projects Schools Fund for the Switch and APC project.
Move approval.
Second.
Comments or questions here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And number 8.
To make an additional appropriation totaling $1,500,000 within the Coronavirus Relief Fund for various projects.
Second.
Comments or questions here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And now we skip over 9, because we already did that, and I think we go to, is there a 10? Yes.
Yep.
10, which is a report from Diane.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. Quick report tonight. I just want to update you. I know the report that you received was run a little bit early, and there were some things that were not, some cash receipts were not yet posted. But I took a quick look, really watching the revenues, because we've been doing really well on revenues. Tax collections actually are $1.8 million as of the last report I ran yesterday, over what we had budgeted. So they've come in really well. The supplemental, as you know, and I've reported, has really helped that this year. As you can see, we collected $2.2 million in the supplemental, and we only budgeted about $1.5. So that was very good going into the end of the year. Building permits, as you can read, we're 138% over budget. Right now, that's $540,000 over. And then the conveyance taxes were at 204% of budget, and $1.6 million. Actually, that number didn't change too much from the report that you had that I ran yesterday. And a police private duty, I did add this to the report a couple of months ago just to watch that. We actually right now, when I looked at the report yesterday, we had revenues of $1.38 million and or $1.8 million, and the expenditures are about 1.6 right now. So that one, we are generating a surplus, but that is something that the billings keep going out and the revenues keep coming in, whereas the payroll is basically done every week. So I anticipate there will be a nice surplus there as well. On the expenditure side, nothing really to note. We do have $543,000 remaining in contingency, and seeing as how this is really the last meeting that something would come before you, I anticipate that that number will pretty much remain intact. And just to let you know, the ARPA money, I did mention in here, we did apply for it, and we did receive it last Monday. So we did receive the direct funding of $8 million from the federal government. So we did receive all $16 million that we should have received from the federal government. Direct. The state piece, which is that county piece that we talked about, it's $11 million in total. We did receive $5 million last year. We're just awaiting instructions from the state on certification for the additional $5 million, the second half. So as soon as that comes through, I'll let you know. We should actually have that in hand by the next meeting. They had 12 months from when we received the first tranche for the second piece to come in, so I expect that we'll get that before June 30th. Just an update on year end. We are preparing for that. We have met. We actually are doing some training. We did our first session today with staff, and we're doing a second training tomorrow, and I was very happy to see that there were a lot of departments that were represented, just to let them know what the process is for year end. We did this last year. It was very helpful. We're cutting off all expenditures as of June 22nd, so that's the date that we're actually cutting off purchase orders. So we'll have a good handle on what comes in. And other than that, we're just going to be getting ready for the audit, if you can believe that again. So, any questions on anything?
Thank you. I see Commissioner O'Brien has one.
Just one quick question with regard to the ARPA funds and the necessary reporting by the nonprofit organizations who received those funds. Will you be doing any training for those nonprofits in terms of how they need to report to you? I know there's a firm that's been hired or contracted with to help the city report, but my concern really is at the nonprofit organizational level.
That has been talked about, and the firm will be helping and meeting with the not-for-profits and all the businesses as well, as far as what's required. And the contract, I think, is pretty detailed as to what they're supposed to be providing us. So that is, Jack Reagan with UHY has been very diligent about making sure that we have all of that information from the not-for-profits and the businesses. And just on another note, I mean, the last time we had to do the quarterly report, we had, I think, 5 or 6 projects to report. This next reporting, we'll have to upload all of the information on all the $24 million that has been awarded. So that will be interesting. We're supposed to be able to upload it in a template because there's a lot of project descriptions and compliance information that has to go up with the quarterly reporting. But no, Jack has been working on that with them.
Through the chair, Marie, about a month ago, there was a mandatory meeting for recipients of the grants. It was very heavy on the financial obligations and accounting end. It did spur a lot of questions. I listened in, and so they were starting some sessions, and it was thorough, and they did record it. So I'm convinced there'll be a lot more that they have coming forward.
As you know, it can be quite a daunting task, and I wouldn't want any of our nonprofits to be embarrassed by not understanding the intricacies and complexities of having to do that kind of reporting. So anything we can do to help them, I think, would be admirable. Yes.
And one other thing that will maybe put your mind at ease a little bit more is that each of these grantees are doing an individualized contract. So they will all, we have a draft contract for all of them, but they'll have to sign off the different reporting structure for each, and working directly with UHY and oversight by the comptroller's office will make sure that we stay compliant on this, and they do as well.
And I do know that I've seen a lot of emails going back and forth. There have been a lot of individual meetings set up with some of these organizations as well. So.
Yep. I was actually up at Shepherd Meadows today, and they have a meeting coming up in a week and a half, so they're scheduling them out. And I think it's great news that the money is there and that we are way ahead. A quick report, since we're talking about ARPA, I can't stop bragging about how well we've done here in Bristol. I was actually at a meeting this morning where they invited me and a nonprofit group to talk about how we used our ARPA funding, and we really are very different than all the other communities out there. We have gone, most of them just consulted with the nonprofits and said, what do you think we should do? But they didn't involve them in the process, and they didn't put it out for a competitive bid. So we've done very well. We're a little bit behind some of the communities getting the money out, but we're still ahead of many others, even with a more complicated, overwhelmingly difficult process for us, but it's working out very well. So. Thanks, and Diane, I just also want to say, you know, my first budget year here, and we are towards the end of this budget year. The amount of work that's been done and all the great work that has been done by everybody here is to be commended, and your staff as well. So thank you very much.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions or comments for Diane? All right, hearing none, I think our next agenda item is any other business to come before this said meeting. Anybody have any other business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
I'll give Jackie the second, O'Brien the first. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Okay, 7:06, I'm going to call the city council meeting on Flag Day, June 14th to order, and let's pledge allegiance to that flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so a little busy night tonight on opening ceremony, so we're going to spread this out a little bit. I'd like to first call up Ava Guimet and have you come up here. I have an award for you, Ava, and Ava is going to be given this award because she obtained the Women's National Wrestling Champion title for the Bristol Eastern High School wrestling team. The All Hearts City congratulates you on this outstanding accomplishment, and I think there's a trend here in Bristol that we're seeing. Female wrestlers tend to be doing extremely well, so this is the second one that we've awarded this year. Ava, congratulations to you. I have a plaque for you. Keep up the good work. Number two, in our opening ceremonies, I'm going to have Jackie recognize Migraine Awareness Month, and I'm going to ask Ronetta Stone to come up. This is kind of a long-standing tradition that we've had in the city of Bristol to recognize this, and Jackie's got a rather long proclamation, but I think she might hopefully talk about the salient points, and we'll give that to Ronetta.
Yeah, I'm not going to read all of these. This proclamation, whereas there are more than 300 medically recognized headache diseases, including cluster headache and migraines. Migraine is a genetic neurobiological disease characterized by episodes called attacks. Approximately 60 million Americans have migraine disease, of which 4 million have chronic migraine, experiencing 15 or more migraine attacks each month. That's a lot. So I'm not going to read all of this because it's very long.
It's okay. Yep, and so Ronetta, I'll go ahead and hand you the proclamation, and we can maybe grab another picture. Thank you for keeping us all in mind on migraine awareness. All right, this will take a little while because Bristol's not only the All Hearts City, the home of Muzzy Field and great baseball tradition, but I just wanted to mention 4 different teams locally that have made some prominence with regards to baseball. So the Bristol Central High School girls softball team and the Bristol Eastern High School girls softball teams went deep into the tournament. I'm pretty sure Central went to the finals and the quarterfinals for Eastern, both excellent years. St. Paul Catholic High School, which is here in Bristol, and we do have obviously Bristol connections to that, even though not one of our direct public schools. Class S state champs. And then the third baseball team to make recognition is the Eastern Connecticut State baseball team. They won the Division III National Championship, and we have a couple of players. I'm forgetting Plantamora's kid's first name, but Richie's son, but I forget his name. I apologize. But we do have Noah, that's right, Noah Plantamora, who is a Bristol native, and I think a couple other connections to Bristol with that team. Thank you very much back there. So great baseball season and softball season for Bristol, and I don't think I have any other opening ceremony recognitions unless I'm missing something, folks. No? That was a good one. We will hopefully maybe get some of those players and or teams in as they've just gone through the tournament. Tonight, for a moment of reflection, I just want to take a second and have everybody reflect on all of the things that are happening. We will have probably some public speakers tonight to talk about the great all-heart city of Bristol, and there's a lot of diversity in this town that I think we should all recognize and appreciate, and you may do that in your own way, and I'm going to take a moment of reflection. All right, number 2 on the agenda. Maureen, I'll have you guide me through this. You want to read it for me?
Approval of minutes of the regular city council meeting of May 10th, 2022, and special city council meeting on April 28th, 2022.
Move approval.
Any comments, additions, changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 3, we'll move on to public participation. And Michael Dutko, you are first up on the list. And for those that come up, we ask that you try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, please. And please state your name and address for the record.
Michael J. Dudko, 116 Lewis Road. I'd like to address the Southeast Bristol Business Park selling of lot number 8. I would like to defer speaking to you when the item comes up as number 11.
And I think we went through this through the ECD board. Our meeting agenda is a set agenda. Public participation comes up front, and then we have a deliberative debate after, and that's our opportunity as the council. So I'm going to encourage
I was
you.
prepared for that.
Yeah, I'm going to encourage you to make your comments, and I'll start the
I have
timer
materials to pass out to all the council people and the mayor.
You can leave it and we can pass it down if you'd like. Thank you very much.
Okay, the city wants to sell plot number, well, it's a modified plot number 8 to SE Middle LLC. Bob Demarest is the keeper that once had contamination on it. 7 years ago, I alerted the BDA and the inland wetlands to this fact. I went to the DEEP, found records. I remember at the time, Mr. Rogozinski was city engineer. He was surprised at the time that what I was telling him, there was a swale. He knew about this. From the old Superior Electric plant, cadmium would reach down across to the Superior Electric pond that is highly contaminated. I found the documentations, the levels definitely contaminated. I passed them in certified records 7 years ago to the 2 boards. And you, Mr. Mayor, are those records still filed?
I assume so.
Okay. I was disappointed. I never found any definitive evidence that it was cleaned up properly. There was mention of digging up asphalt. If you look at the handouts I gave, I have an original plot, and it shows you where the paved swale was. I flipped that over, and there it sits in the red line today with the property you want to sell. No evidence that it's clearly been cleaned up. As I said, Mr. Rogozinski was surprised at the time, acknowledged that I was right about that, where it was, and he was surprised, this is my opinion, that I handed in certified documentation that there was cadmium there. I tried to look, you can't get minutes of the former BDA. I handed in, I went to the inland wetlands. The last two sheets indicate I went 7 years ago, and I presented that evidence also to the inland wetlands agency to make them aware of it. I don't think, you had 7 years, the ECD had 7 years to rectify this problem that I showed them 7 years ago. They just kicked the can down the road. I don't want, apparently, the area where that canal was, that's covered over, will be a parking lot. If digging takes place and that gets on a construction worker, avoid that. There needs to be real testing. Who is responsible? Before you go selling this, you got to know who is responsible for this. I don't even think the ECD, there are 3 members. I went to the meeting last Thursday. Mr. Malley was there. He was there 7 years ago, and there were 3 commissioners there who were there 7 years ago. A case of, I guess, amnesia, and none of the records of the last 1.5 years is there. I read the minutes online, no mention. I don't even think, as I said, I don't even think S.E. Middle or Mr. Demers was ever told of this. There are state laws about real estate. When there's contamination on a property and you're trying to sell it, you're supposed to be telling that person you're selling it to that it once existed there. I don't even think that was done here.
I'm going to ask you to wrap it up if you can.
Okay.
Thank you.
I hope you ask me questions when item 11 comes. I'll be glad to answer them to elucidate and fill you in on much more of this. I've been through this for 7 years waiting. When's it going to happen? And it's here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dudko. Next on the list is Thomas. 5 Village. I'm sorry, I can't read your last name, so please state your name and address for the record.
Thomas Bentavango, 5 Village Street. Good evening. The reason I'm here tonight is to get some clarity and maybe some insight into what I consider a special interest ordinance. The area I live in is R10, R15, and there's a proposal to put in multifamily housing because there is another or a special interest type of ordinance that says housing for over 55, multifamily, can go into one of these areas now. When it's very inconsistent with what our zoning laws are about. They're about protecting people in certain areas for encroachment or having this project come down and sit right in the middle of our area. And I found out that this ordinance is about 9 years old. It seems to be a special interest ordinance for private, for-profit businesses, more so than the city's needs for housing for 55 and older. It has a lot to do with desirability of the area, and it isn't just my area, it's for the whole city of Bristol. I went to City Hall the other day and I asked one of the engineers if one of these LLCs came into town and wanted to buy up ranch-style houses and make them into duplexes and rent them only to 55 and olders, would that be allowed? And he said, nobody's ever asked me that, I never thought about it. And then but he did think about it for a few minutes and he says, yes, they can. I think we opened a real Pandora's box here of the special ordinance. It's so inconsistent with what our protections are. I just can't believe, that it's still there. And I know this administration had nothing to do with it. It's a 9-year-old ordinance, but it's something that has to be revisit it, because it's only going to be more and more things coming down a pipe of somebody else putting in something else. It's still multifamily housing. I don't care what the age is. So our protections are gone. The zoning ordinance has been violated by a city ordinance. It really makes no sense. And basically, I'd like some either clarity or insight on how this came about, what you guys know about it, if anything, because it was a while ago. But my area has been zoned this way for about 50 years now. And so the last 10, or probably 60 years, the last 10, this new thing came in, but it is citywide. Is it something that this administration would like to look at, revisit, or you're just going to let this thing go until it's just going to, other people from other areas in the city are here asking, when did you guys know about it? What did you do about it? It wasn't your administration who did that. Why was it done? There is no need to this day, there is no need for this type of housing in these areas. There's plenty of areas to put these things in.
Thank you. First,
you.
I'll just let you know that we received your public comment. It's not an agenda item tonight, and I don't think we're prepared to go ahead and address you directly on it, but I did see our ordinance committee taking some proficient notes on this, and I will offer to you that maybe we can sit down and talk further on this and look into it, but as a new administration, it's something that happened 9 years ago. We're not prepared to comment on that tonight, but we thank you for bringing it forward.
I understand, but one question then. Would those types of ordinances, did they come from the council or would they come from?
So we have to see whether it is something from planning and a planning and zoning regulation, or is this actually a city ordinance? Ordinance does come from city council, and we have our ordinance committee here. Planning and zoning is out of our purview per se. We really just appoint people to land use boards, and that comes from them. So that's where we probably need to spend more time to sit down and truly understand where you're going on this.
Okay, thank you very
I'm happy
much.
to do that with you at some point. Please feel free to follow up in the office.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, Adam Anter is on the list.
My name is Adam Antar. I live at 265 Rambler Street. I'm here to address the recent distribution of racist flyers around town. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. Residents are scared and concerned, and it's clear that the city must do something in order to address these fears and concerns that residents have. Our children of color deserve to be able to walk home from school without fear. We deserve to live in our neighborhoods and in our homes without questioning our neighbors. I look forward to seeing what this beautiful city will do to address this issue. Whatever it is, it must be done in a timely and substantive manner. This is Cami.
Hi, my name is Camelia Lopez. I live at 91 Tulip Street in Bristol, apartment 3.
I'm sorry to do this to you, but I don't see your name on here. Can you say
I got here late. He was going to
That's
add
okay.
me
Just
on.
want to get your name for the record again.
Camelia, Camelia, Lopez, Lopez.
Gotcha. Thank you.
This is also concerning this. I know my brother had picked them up in a neighborhood we've lived in for 20 years. We are Hispanic residents of the neighborhood. I'm Puerto Rican, and I've been seeing it become more diverse. I've been so excited about the community becoming more diverse. But by not addressing this issue immediately and delaying the conversation or hoping that it'll go away, or we're not sending the appropriate message to these children. We're not sending the appropriate messages to families. Children don't deserve to have to walk and see those things. They need a voice. If a child is biracial and picks up those pieces of paper, they're looking at it and it's telling them that one part of them is inherently bad and the other part of them is inherently good and worth protecting. What is that saying to that child? What are we saying to our community by not standing up immediately and saying we condemn these actions? We are going to stand by our community. We are going to be diverse. We are going to support our people and educate people in implicit bias and in these harmful things. I'm scared for our teenagers finding these papers. There's so much hate in this world, and I don't want it coming to Bristol. I love this city. I came here in 4th grade and went all the way through high school, and I praise the city all the time to people. but I've never felt scared. And this is making me feel scared, and I know families are too, to the point where they don't feel like even saying anything is going to get their word out there. They don't feel represented. So I'm here to just really plead with you to let's work on a proactive plan for this and really stand our ground and say, no, this is not okay. Bristol is better than this, because I know we are, and I know we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. Certainly agree with your comments that this is reprehensible behavior. I think you probably saw that I did have those statements to the press when this came out. Let me just finish, please. And we would like to take a proactive approach. I think right now this is something that is under active investigation with our police and even the FBI. And we do take this very seriously. I did have a chance to speak with Adam just before this, and we have set up a meeting in July to have a larger group come in. Camelia would be more than happy to join our group with us. The actions that we could take right now, I think, are limited, but I'm open to the conversation, and I will also remind all of you, I was going to talk about this under our announcements, but we've had, I think, 3 years running of community conversations, and I'm here in the Board of Ed where we started some of those in the past. We have one coming up in August, and I would highly recommend that we look proactively to bring our diverse community together. So I'm in agreement with you. I will also just share for the record that I first heard about this on Wednesday when this is when I first heard about it, on Wednesday when I think incidentally our Department of Public Works crew was out picking up, doing street sweeping, and they did find them. And we reported it right away, and we would like to not perpetuate this hate and fear, because we do believe that that's a bad thing. And that we may disagree on the outcome, but I would love to talk to you further to see how we can work together.
Am I allowed to speak? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you can go ahead and
because
do that.
I know for a fact that my brother picked them up on Monday and went down to the police department, or went down and talked to a police who was also picking them up. And I know that we called on Tuesday, and Adam went down there himself. And July 5th is not quick enough. I'm sorry. And I understand. We do a lot of diversity things in Bristol. I love it. And I'm an advocate for it, and I want to help. I do. And I want to get involved, and I want to get the community involved. But what we are doing is not enough. It is not enough. We have to do more. Just talking about it is not enough. Saying we don't want to give this publicity doesn't help. They're still getting the publicity. They're still getting the following. If we don't stand up now, what happens when they continue this following and then they start hurting people? I don't want it to get to that point. But if we can stand as a community and teach everyone that this is not something that's okay, no matter what, and that the community and that the elected officials have our back, and that no one with those representations should be just littering in our streets. I think it's a bigger problem than you may perceive it to be, sir.
I can appreciate that. I did offer Adam a visit this Friday early in the morning, because that's what I have available. If you want to join him, you're more than welcome. And maybe we can bring in Chief Gould as well, or others from our community, to see what proactive solutions you are thinking about. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Stephanie Alderman.
Hi. Stephanie Alderman, 115 Country Lane. Okay, I just want to talk about the dog pound. I did contact the city council a couple weeks ago about that. I understand that you had a tour of the pound with engineers, I believe. And that there was a report that was going to be written, and I and a couple other people want to know if you've gotten the report and how it looks, what's going on with the pound.
Yep, we will be addressing this topic later on in the agenda, so if you can hold tight, I think you might get news that hopefully will be good for you, and if not, we certainly can follow up after the meeting as well for more information.
Okay.
So any other comments or
No,
questions?
that's it. I was wondering about the report.
It is on the agenda tonight, and
Great.
Cheryl will be handling that under
All right.
committee reports.
All right, thank you.
And then Tro, and last name is Ohm, I think? Trish, oh boy. Sorry about that, Trish, that's my bad. But
Patricia Yulin, 21 Jerome. I'm president of the Friends of the Bristol, Connecticut Animal Shelter, a nonprofit that we started about 9 years ago, trying to make sure that the animals get adopted. That's our goal primarily. And I'm happy that we're going to talk about the pound. I also, though, and I know that everything takes time, but we're working with one ACO. We really need to put the speed onto getting another ACO. He's working, the ACO that's on is working some like 20 to 25 calls a day, which gives him very little time to do anything else, and makes it hard for him to do a thorough job, even on the calls that he does have. He's doing a great job, but he needs help. So that's the only thing that I wanted to hope that you can get him another helper, another ACO, as soon as possible.
Chief Gould just stepped out, I believe. But the good news is I did sign the requisition to go ahead and make sure the job is posted, and they're going to, yeah. So we are working on it actively. We just had, as you know,
My understanding
a
is that
retirement.
it's closing this Friday.
Yep, so we're moving forward.
How long does it take after it closes, do you think?
You've got to find the right candidate, so that hopefully will be quickly.
I know there's some good ones in there. So,
Yep.
And Chief Gould is awesome, so.
He is, yes. I'll pass that along because you didn't hear it, but I'm glad you didn't say it while I was in here.
I said it to him
It'll go right
enough
through his
already.
head. All right, I don't see any other public comment on my sheet here. Does anybody else in here wish to speak? And how about anybody online? Really, I see one online. All right. Hearing none, we will move on to announcements, number 4. And I'm going to start on my far left. Sebastian, go ahead.
Sure, just a couple announcements of events going on in the next couple weeks. This Saturday, June 18th, the Latin American Motorcycle Association is hosting their motorcycle polka run to benefit the United Way of West Central Connecticut. Check-in for riders starts at 9:30 a.m. at the Agape House on 43 School Street. And the last stop is Powerhouse Motorsports at 151 East Street, Plainville, where there will be music, awards, food, and a raffle. A good event this weekend for a good organization. You could register at United Way, lamapokerun.eventbrite.com. It's $20 per rider, $5 per passenger. And also, the Bristol Soccer Club is hosting their family night at the Hartford Athletic Soccer game next Saturday, June 25th at Dillon Stadium in Hartford. Group rate discounted tickets are available on their Facebook page to help celebrate the end of their soccer season.
Great, thanks, Sebastian. Susan?
Let's see. This Friday on the 17th is the Bristol Exchange Club's Honoring Bristol's Finest dinner. This is formerly known as the Police Officer of the Year dinner. It's being held at the Doubletree, and it's from 6 to 10. Tickets can be purchased through the Exchange Club still. And the last piece that we have is Jackie and we will be holding a District 2 meeting at Indian Rock on Tuesday, June 28th, and it's going to be from 6 p. to 7 p. And the emphasis is going to be on summer safety. So we do have some of our members of our police department coming to speak on all different topics of safety that will hopefully keep our residents safe as they enjoy their summer.
Jolie?
Yes. I just wanted to say congratulations to all the seniors who will be graduating tomorrow. I'm so happy that these seniors were able to have a pre-COVID year this year and were able to enjoy a normal prom, normal senior night, and a normal graduation. I know that these times mean a lot to them, so I'm very grateful that they were able to experience all of them. I also would like to recognize Carolyn Kilma for being the 2023 Teacher of the Year and Edith Saucier for the 2023 Paraprofessional of the Year. Caroline is a biology teacher at Bristol Eastern and started her teaching career in 2002. And Edith is a paraprofessional at Bristol Central for 22 years. Also, Hubble School was awarded the Outstanding School Climate Award and the Exemplary School of the Year for 2021 and 2022 by the Connecticut Association of Schools. Green Hills was awarded the Outstanding School Climate Award and the Middle School of the Year Award for 2021 and 2022 by the Connecticut Association of Schools. So I wanted to say congratulations to all of them.
Thank you, Jolene. Andrew?
Before I forget, I want to say congratulations to the Boys and Girls Club. They had their gala on Saturday night, and it was quite well attended, and it was very well put together. So I want to make sure I thank them personally and congratulate them. School systems, if you haven't signed your kids up for kindergarten yet, you would want to do it by June 15th at 5 p.m. because the fire truck drawing is being held on January 16th. The only way your child can be into that raffle is to be fully registered by 5 p.m. on June 15th. There's also a collaborative partnership with the New England Carousel Museum and School Readiness Programs. On Thursday, June 23rd from 10 to 1, the museum will be open and free to the public. The school readiness providers will be on hand to share information regarding their programs and how to serve families in Bristol. These programs are subsidized and parents pay on a sliding fee scale determining upon the family size and income. They have openings for 3- and 4-year-olds in the fall. There will also be raffles, and every family will receive a book promoting resilience for now and forever and a family guide for supporting social and emotional development of preschool children. On the park side, they have the summer concert series, Rockin' Out in Rockwell, kicks off Tuesday the 21st at 6:30 p.m. The Savage Brothers will be performing the first show. You bring a chair, a blanket, and come enjoy a night of music on every Tuesday night starting at 6:30 at the amphitheater. The pools are opening on June 25th. They will be open on the 25th through the 27th. They are open from 1 to 7 p.m. That is Page and Rockwell. The splash pads are open. They turn on at 11 a.m. and they are open till 7 p.m. They also have pool memberships available now, valid for all 3 pools. It's valid from June 1st through August 31st. Adult residents are $40, non-residents are $80. Children from 0 to 17 are $25, and non-residents are $50. That's it, my announcements.
Thank you, Andrew. Cheryl?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would just like everybody to put a placeholder of July 15th. I've mentioned this before, but this will be the reveal of the Martin Luther King mural that was fundraised by the community and sponsored by the City Arts and Culture Commission. And so that'll be on Riverside. There'll be more information time, but just keep that date open in your calendar. And then on Saturday, the 25th, in a week from this Saturday, we have a young man who is fighting a terrible disease, Nick Parenti, and there is a fundraiser for him. Let's see if I can do this without crying, but it's the Nick's Epic Pinewood Derby. So if you're not sure what a Pinewood Derby card looks like, I have about 10 of these around my house from Cub Scouts. But you can bring one, you can make one, you can race one, you can buy a T-shirt. It's an event from 10 a.m. to, I believe, 4 p.m. at Page Park. It's a fantastic fundraiser and a way for us to all come around this family, this wonderful family whose 7-year-old is fighting a terrible disease. So please come out. It's a lot of fun. This one won't win. You can see it lost a wheel. Must have been an exciting race, but Pinewood Derby, so thank you.
Was it a curb?
No, it was a straight hill.
And just to say that again, Nick's Epic Pinewood Derby race?
Yes.
That's what you look up on social media, so please check it out at least, and thank you, Cheryl. Yep. Anything else? No?
Nope.
Jackie?
At our last council meeting, I had mentioned that our water department hydrant team had qualified for nationals, and they were off to San Antonio, Texas. And they've been there for a couple of days now. And just before I came to the council meeting tonight, I got a text message from Rob Longo, who's the superintendent of the Water and Sewer Department. And unfortunately, they only had the 10 top teams that go to the next round. Well, they didn't quite make it. They got beat by Bristol, Rhode Island by 0.06 of a second. But they need to be congratulated because they did a great job.
Is that it, Jackie? Yep, I have two quick announcements. One is more of a congratulations to our graduating first Fire Academy, which will happen on Friday, June 17th. An innovative program where we brought in recruits into our own academy to go ahead and fulfill a short supply, and looking forward to that. I know that many of us put money forth to go ahead and invest in that, and I think it is going to pay off in dividends, and really will be great to be at that on Friday. The only other reminder that I wanted to make for everybody is that the farmers market does start this Saturday, June 18th at 10 a.m. And the farmers market is still downtown. Hopefully you're starting to see some of the signs around town, but it is in the Bristol Health parking lot. So we've kept it downtown. There's a lot of activity downtown, and our old parking lot is not quite usable and won't be usable all summer long. So hopefully we see everybody at Bristol Health on June 18th, 10 a.m. Any other announcements? Oh, Greek Festival this weekend as well. So that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I think a lot of us are going to try to get there on Saturday, but any others? No? All right, we will move on to number 5, which is the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to take anything off the consent calendar?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to pull item M from the consent calendar, please.
Okay, and then I will entertain a motion to approve items A through L, including N and skipping M.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other further comments or questions about those agenda items? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Cheryl, if you can
Yes.
read the motion for M now.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the amended subscription and access agreement between the Commission for Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies, CALEA, Inc., and the Bristol Police Department regarding the state requirement that police departments obtain certification, and to authorize the mayor, acting mayor, chief of police, or acting chief of police to strike Section 15 of the agreement and Section 8 of the addendum A to the agreement and execute the agreement and any necessary documents.
Do I have a second? Second. Any commentary needed here? Maybe Cheryl, do you have commentary to help us? This is just basically something we had already approved, went through, and we just have an amendment into the contract.
Since it was originally reviewed, there were additional negotiations at the request of Corporation Counsel that resulted in the deletion of the 2 paragraphs.
Very good. Any other further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to number 6, which is reports and committee reports, and we'll start with 6A, which is real estate.
Let's see, under real estate, I have a motion. Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the city of Bristol purchase the property known as Lot 16, Map 43, Church Avenue, currently owned by BD Church LLC, for the purchase price of $550,000. Said lot shall be utilized for the construction of a new firehouse in the Forestville section of the city of Bristol. I hereby move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to execute any necessary documents to effectuate the same, and that this matter be referred to Corporation Counsel for any necessary action. I further move that this matter be referred to the Bristol Board of Finance for any necessary funding.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any commentary or questions on this first? This is,
Oh, yeah, the 150, you want to bring?
yes, so we had previously been appropriated $400,000 for this in a previous budget year. So that is in the appropriation. You see the end of this amended motion now to go ahead and move this to the Board of Finance. So we will have to spend some of that contingency money that I forgot to tell Diane about. But we will be moving this project forward. We've already moved forward the funding approval for the building itself. So now we need to execute the land agreement. Any other questions or comments?
Through the chair, I believe Diane said there might be a special council meeting the night of the Board of Finance meeting for us to go forward and joint committee approve the additional 150 as well.
Yeah, we might be able to do that back to back there and keep this moving. I know that the sellers are anxious to get this moving, and we're obviously anxious as well. So it's been a long time coming, and very proud to say that we're going to get this one done. So that's good. Any other comments, questions? Go ahead, Susan.
One additional comment. Good job negotiating and getting us to this point.
We did the best we could, and under difficult circumstances in the marketplace, we're moving forward. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And next report is Ordinance Committee. Stays with you, Susan.
Okay. It's kind of fitting that today is Flag Day, and I have the honor of making this motion. I hereby move that Section 2-15 flying policy of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut is hereby amended to read as follows. I hereby move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol. The additions are underlined and deletions are bracketed.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments on this one? I know this has kind of been back and forth and around. It's gone through Public Works, come to City Council, back to ordinance, and gone through that process and is here. We've had a couple of public participation over the course of the last couple months. Does anybody else have anything they want to add or say? Jackie, go ahead.
Yes, I have previously stated in our ordinance meetings that it's my belief and understanding that flagpoles were never intended to serve as a forum for free expression by the public. The proposed flag policy is not intended to discriminate against any person or group, but rather to unite the community. So no one is made to feel that they're left out and not being represented. This policy is not by any means to say that public groups are not important and have no value in this community. My interpretation of the U.S. state and city flags is that they represent a unified country, state, and city. Rather than separate us into groups, I believe that these flags unite us as a community that believes in freedom, equality, and as we say in the Pledge of Allegiance, justice for all. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Any other comments?
I just want to, wrong way. Just want to share that in the public comment, we didn't have a large group, but 80% of the people that did come forward did speak in favor of the ordinance. Several people have reached out to several of us on the council, and at least the comments I received from the general public leaned that they felt this was also fair, and those are very good statements, Jackie. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments?
I would
Go ahead,
commend
Sebastian.
the ordinance committee also and the work that they've done. I feel it's a good policy, and especially Councilwoman Tyler. Anytime we were out, whether it was with one group or another, to publicize the meetings and that there would be public comment and to please come and give input on this policy, I think that was great, and it was very transparent of the ordinance committee. So I commend them on that.
Everybody looks good. I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, I think we have committee reports now too as we go through. Sebastian,
Sure.
anything to report?
Just to follow through on a topic that the Diversity Council was following with interest from a few months ago, the affordable housing plan that Bristol just passed on May 23rd, which is our first affordable housing plan submitted to the State Office of Policy and Management. The Planning Commission worked with Planometric this year, who Planometrics worked on our plan of conservation and development a few years ago, and they did a great job to pull this together. It's on the city website. If you search for affordable housing, it pops up, and it's a succinct document. It's not an encyclopedia, so you can take a good look at it. Has a lot of really good info, different types of affordable housing that we have, resources, charts, graphs. It's really well put together by them. The two main points that I really take away from the process were that most cities in town did not submit a affordable housing plan to the state. Bristol was in the minority. I think that's a good thing. I think that they were organized enough to put it together and be proactive to submit the plan to the state. The other is that Bristol provides a rate of affordable housing through our affordable single-family housing stock or assisted living or otherwise at a rate of 14.8% of available housing. That exceeds the state guideline of 10% for affordable housing. So again, Bristol's ahead of the curve on the issue. I believe cities and towns are at risk for potential oversight from the state if they don't comply with the statute, if they don't supply affordable housing. So I think that we're better off in this instance to work with the state, and it's a timely issue. Affordable housing is becoming more of an issue statewide and in different towns, in neighboring towns even. So I'm glad that we're on the front foot with it. The plan is good for 5 years, so next time we will be forced to revisit the plan is May 2027. But just commend the Planning Commission and Bob Flanagan. I spoke with him today. They did a good job working with the state guidelines, and so we have a plan in place, so that's a good thing.
Thank you, Sebastian. Susan, do you have anything further for committee? No, we've already
Pretty much
handled yours.
we're wrapping up a lot of things, including the flag policy, and probably have more to report next month. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Jolene?
Yes, I do. Memorial Boulevard Intra-District Arts and Magnet Schools on schedule. We're in the process of getting our certificate of occupancy. As far as seats left, we have 3 in grade 6, 11 in grade 7, and 8 in grade 8. For Youth Commission, the Bristol Parks Rec Youth and Community Services have received and granted scholarship awards out to families this week. We had 47 Bristol youths that will benefit by engaging in the Bristol Parks Rec and Youth Summer Camps, Bristol Boys and Girls Club, Indian Rock, and other programs and activities. To date, the Bristol Parks Rec and Youth have granted over 6,000 in scholarships, with more coming in daily. That's it.
Thank you very much. Andrew?
I have a couple. SRC, the School Readiness Council, has pretty much, the whole thing has been retired. We've had 4 retirements. I'll mention that it was Karen Lombardi. She was a nutritionist with the WIC program. Kathy Pleward, the Director of School Nurses from the BBHD. Joyce Voisine, Head of the Early Childhood Department from Tungus Community College. And on a tougher side to take is our grant manager, Mary Alice Petroselli-Timick, retired after 30 years in service with the SRC. So we hope that and wish all of them well in their endeavors. I believe Donna has she taken Osage?
Osage, yep.
Will be taking over the grants position for Mary. So hopefully she does well in that. Fire chief, the fire department is having their graduation Friday. I just lost it.
June 7th.
Friday, yeah, June 17th at Bristol Eastern at 5 p.m. We have multiple graduates happening, and we also have a few, I'm losing my words today. Promotions, sorry. Other than that, I am good.
Thanks, Andrew. Cheryl?
Thank you. I would like to start with Public Works, and we'll start right with the dog pound. Okay. On Tuesday, May 31st, I, along with the council member Howe, we participated in a Zoom meeting with the engineers, the Public Works staff, as well as representation from the police. As you know, animal control is a function of their department, for the progress update on the dog pound renovations. As you're aware, we authorized a sum to conduct this analysis in January, and we had originally toured the facility in December. Now, some actions that had to happen after the funds were allocated is to write a scope of work, put it out to bid, and that did take a little bit of time, and then we had to allow the contractor time to do their work. And we're not just looking at electrical and wiring to accommodate air conditioning, but we're looking at all the issues associated with this older building. This would include total ventilation for the entire building, dog runs that maybe go to the outside to allow some more recreation for the animals, the roofing, siding issues, where it's built, the floors get wet due to, some of the groundwater. So all these things needed to be taken into consideration. Basically, what will it take to have this building safely as well as comfortably function with standard routine maintenance for the next 20 years? This holistic approach will help us determine if we want to invest in this existing building, or would it be a better investment and a better use of city funds to build new? Unfortunately, this does take some time to put all this together. Our next meeting, it will be next week, and we will have the cost estimates to help us start making this determination. Additionally, we're looking at the volume of animals that do go through the facility, because another option is to consider what if we partnered with a private vendor. But right now, we're focused on what it would do. What's the best choice for the city funds for the animals? I'd like to assure those who are concerned that there is functioning AC in the building this summer. It's there, it's providing comfort to both the individuals that work there as well as our four-legged occupants or birds. Well, birds don't need air conditioning, but other animals, okay? It's not a long-term fix, but it works. The ceiling that was peeling was addressed. Some other issues of painting floors were addressed, but we want to see what the whole picture looks like. We have several animal lovers on our council. I'm one of them. There's currently 2 rescues living in my home now, and I'm convinced this is the right approach. So our next meeting will be, as I said, on the 28th, and we'll hear the next presentation and be ready to make some recommendations, hopefully, or unfortunately, we might have to send it back for more information, but the key is to do it right the first time. I do see, even though I'm going to divert, I do see Chief Gould has come back into the room. Do we want to put him on the spot and ask him what he anticipates the animal control officer to be hopefully interviewed?
When you had left, there was a question about quickly replacing an animal control officer. So I know that is underway, and I don't know if you have a timetable.
Yeah, this is easy. I can defer this. Where's HR?
Thanks, Chief.
So the hiring process does fall under the purview of HR, and they put it out, and I don't know what the timeline is for them. I would have to punt that. I don't usually like to give up the ball, but by all means, Director.
Mark, would you, if you want to add anything? Yeah, I'm bringing you up to the microphone. Sorry.
Sorry to put you guys on the spot.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate that. So to answer the question, I believe the position is closing this Friday. So we'll have to take a look. It takes a few days to analyze the applications, sort out the qualified from unqualified applications. We do receive some of those. Doesn't take too long, though. I would say maybe 1 or 2 days. Then we have to start scheduling the interviews. So that takes a couple of days too. Hold the interviews takes a couple of days. So I would say less than 2 weeks.
We'd be throwing a background check in there as well.
Yes.
So that'll take some, we're definitely doing a background check on whoever.
You folks are running that back. It's not my background, right? Yeah. Mine's much quicker than the police's background. I'm thinking maybe 2 weeks, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on the candidates that we have. If we get a lot of successful candidates, it may take a little bit longer. We want to get the best person for the job.
That'd be a good thing to have.
Always is.
To choose from, but thank you.
Through the mayor, since we diverted,
Go ahead.
as far as the animal control officer, do they have like I know they don't go to the post academy, but do they have like a training program? And also, besides a background check, do they have to go through a polygraph or a psychological or anything such as, police officers do? Thank you. I'm sorry, Cheryl.
So a lot of questions. So the first question is, yes, they do go to training, and that's actually a recent law that's come up. So, but some of these individuals applying may already have that certification, so that'll be part of the vetting process as well. But they will go to training. We do a background check. There are no requirements for polygraphs. They don't meet those. They're not a sworn police officer, so they don't have to do the polygraph and the psychological examinations. We'll just be doing a full background investigation on them to get an understanding of who the applicant is, because we want the most qualified and best person to represent our ACO division.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Cheryl.
Yes, thank you. Continuing on with Public Works, about 2 weeks ago, there was a public hearing for the Route 229 corridor study. Unfortunately, it wasn't well attended by the public, but the study is available for review. It can be found on the Public Works agenda. Now, the meeting is scheduled for this Thursday, which is the 16th, and it is on the agenda. Towards the end, it's item number D, it looks like, under, wait a minute, there's a number 2, 11D. So I urge people to take a look at this. If the comment section has basically ended, but we feel we could still provide comments to the state on this. So if anybody looks at this, has some concerns, reach out. Please reach out to me or any of the council people, and we'll be glad to answer those for you. But this is an important link from Route 6 to Southington that they're considering. It would not only open up a bike path, which is one thing, it would pedestrian traffic safely done, but they're also expanding it to a bus route in which maybe we can get some of our people from downtown over to where Amazon is or ESPN is, or even down to the shopping centers where Home Goods is, or if people like to spend a lot of money at Home Goods, this might not be a good thing. But to come back, and also we would like it to go past our adult education center, which, by the way, I see some of our BOE, we had 22 graduates last week. Is that correct, from adult education?
Yes.
Which is a wonderful thing. So we want to make use of that. But the Route 229 corridor study is there. We do want comments. We don't like people to be surprised when it happens and say, hey, nobody told me about this. Then lastly, from the arts, City Arts and Culture, I think this is really cool. I'm going to just pass this to each of the council members. And this is a project that they're developing, and it's a QR code project. So you each have your cell phone. You could do the Scan Me, and each of the works of art that are being sponsored through the committee will have a sticker put on them. Some of the larger, more elaborate ones will have a larger plaque. But even little things like painting the utility boxes or painting the trash cans, if you go on with the QR code, it will take you to a site which will tell you about the artist who designed it and tell you about the city Arts and Culture Committee and a little bit about the city. So it's a great, neat way to get people knowledgeable about some of the wonderful projects that are going on in the community. So these should be out later this year, and I hope I figured out QR codes. If I can, anybody can. And I have an Android too, which everybody reminds me about, but that's from the City Arts and Culture. So thank you. Oh, and ladies, if you have any questions on the dog pound, please see me. Thank you.
Jackie, announcements?
Mayor, I don't have any
I'm sorry, not announcements. Committee reports, sorry, yep. Good, and Andrew, I think you had one else to add.
Yeah, I forgot. Parks Department. June 9th was opening, and I can personally say in public that the mayor has been vindicated. His baseball did go over home plate. It did not go in the dugouts anywheres. It hit. So
it was called a strike by the announcer.
I was standing behind the plate. It was a very big ball. And something just to share that the first phase of the court repairs and resurfacing have become around the community members are already enjoying the new courts at Rockwell, Brackett, and Peck Park. Peck Park happens to be the city's first outdoor hybrid tennis pickleball facility. They've had over a dozen calls and received today for the request of the combo to access pickleball supplies stored at Peck Park. The vets had a successful Memorial Day, both Forestville and Bristol. Forestville had a few special MCs and Councilwoman Tebow and Mayor Caggiano. I also had the privilege of laying the wreath at the end of the procession in Forestville. Monday's event was well attended. After the procession, there were multiple speakers who read the role of the fallen Bristol soldiers from each war and conflict. The vice chair also gave us the meaning of Memorial Day and how it became a holiday. Following that, in their remarks, we head down to the boulevard to the opening of the Blue Star Memorial. If you haven't seen it yet, I would tell you to go down there and look at it. The ladies did a wonderful job with the garden. And that's it. That's all I forgot.
Great. Any other committee reports? I think we're good, so we will move on to new business. I don't believe we have any new business now because that motion took care of it. Resignations, Marina? I think they were, by the way, listed under appointments, not resignations for those following on the packet. But we had a lot of resignations.
Yeah, there's 17 total.
And they're in the packets. It's labeled CC 9, but it actually should be CC 8. So this created a lot of appointments, and we are catching up on these. Maybe my general announcement is I had put a call out for people to volunteer on commissions and boards, and we got a huge outpouring, and we're filling these in as quickly as we can. So if you're interested still, please reach out to the mayor's office, bristolct.gov, mayor's office at bristolct.gov, and let us know you're interested. So let's move on to...
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignations on file
yeah.
and have a letter sent to each participant thanking them for their service.
Thank you. I was so excited. Second to Jackie. I was so excited to do my appointments because we have so many of them, but thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Cheryl. All right, so let's do our appointments. We'll start first with, I think you all have a list here too, so you can keep track. Commission on Aging, we will be replacing Dino Bossi with John Odell with an unexpired term that will last through 3/23.
Move approval?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. On the American Rescue Plan Task Force, where we do have a couple of other potential openings, so I just want to mention that, and we are really looking for people here with nonprofit experience, so we aren't going to move down that alley right now because we have a couple of resignations in that area. We had 3 different subcommittees, but we are going to replace Eric Clemens with Ann Munger Crystal, and there's no expiration to the task force.
Move to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. On the City Arts and Culture Commission, we need to replace Mark Walerziak, I used to be able to say that, with Tiffany Ann Howe to an unexpired term of 4/24.
Move approval.
Nay.
Move approval.
How about a second, Andrew?
Absolutely not. Second.
Second from Andrew. I'm giving it to him. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? His wife is a great artist as well, too.
Yes.
Next is Commission for Persons with Disabilities, to reappoint Ruth Ann Graham to a 3-year term that expires in 6/25.
Move to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, we had a lot of resignations on Diversity Council, and we are going to be replacing a couple of those with people that have expressed interest, and I think we have maybe 3 or 4 more to replace after this, so I don't see some of the people in the room that were speaking earlier, but they may want to join the Diversity Council. To replace, and I'm going to do both of these together with one motion, replace Alice Ferguson with Desira Powell. There's no term for this. to replace Erica Pearson with Reynardo Ortiz Jr.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Economic and Community Development. We'll do these separately. Replace Michael Zamet with Carolyn Varakis, resigned, in an unexpired term that ends 12/2022.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then replace Charles Sear with Michael Mazzarelli, and this is also, he resigned, so this term will also go to 12/2022.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. On the Board of Education, and I see him in the room, we will replace John Skalenka with Russell Anderson. That term expires on 11/13/2023.
Move approval. Second.
Any comments? I thought there was going to be a comment there, Cheryl.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Welcome, Russell. Motion carried, obviously. Board of Finance. I think I could do these together because they're the same terms. Reappoint David Jason Mikowski to a 4-year term, 6/26, and reappoint Marie O'Brien to a 4-year term, 6/26.
So moved.
Approval.
I'm going to give that one to Jackie. You'll get the second, Andrew. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Bristol Burlington Health District, replace Leslie Kish with Kathy Burness. This is an unexpired term that ends on 7/22.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We obviously will have to take this one back up very soon. I know that I don't think they have any summer meetings, which is why they asked us to do this. So we'll have to reappoint her after. I'm sure she'll want to continue. Housing Code of Appeals Board, to reappoint Eric Rosengren. He's an alternate member. This is a 3-year term that expires on 6/1/25.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, inland wetlands, we have to do these separately. They're all different terms. To appoint Richard Ministro as a regular member to replace Chet Reed. This is an unexpired term that ends on 5/24.
Move approval.
I'm going to give it to Sebastian, second to Andrew. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And now we're going to replace Richard Ministro with John Lafreniere as an alternate member with an unexpired term that goes through 9/22. John's here as well, too. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And then also on inland wetlands, we need to replace Carolyn Chekovides as an alternate member. We're going to replace her with Logan Williams to an unexpired term that expires on 1/24.
So moved.
Second.
Jacobitz, thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Board of Library Directors, we're going to replace Lucia Stewart Roman with Ashley Verselis, unexpired term 1/25.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Retirement Board, we will be replacing Paul Keegan with Christopher Gallant. That's an unexpired term that ends on 7/23.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I think I can do all these together. I can, because they're all the same time. So we're going to replace Cameron McLaughlin with Richard Kilby, who's a citizen member. That's going to expire in 6/25. These will all expire in 6/25. We're going to reappoint Matthew Gadawala, who's the Police Department representative, another 3-year term, and to reappoint Lance Washington, who's a citizen member, for a 3-year term.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're getting there. We're in the Zoning Board of Appeals to appoint Christopher D. Callahan to replace Rory Gio, unexpired term that ends 7/23.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And finally, on the Zoning Commission, we're going to reappoint Richard Harlow to a 3-year term. It expires on 6/25. Motion?
So moved.
And Jackie will get the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then to replace Michael Mazzarelli with Brian Skinner, that's a 3-year term that expires on 6/25.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't think I missed any. Anybody see anything? Very good. We're getting better at that. We're going to have plenty more opportunities, as I said. And we will move on to number 10, which is a resolution. Somebody read the resolution. I think I have it up here if you need to.
I have it. Want me to read it? Be it hereby resolved that the filing of an application for the 2022 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant to the U.S. Department of Justice is hereby approved, and that the Mayor Jeffrey Caggiano, or acting mayor, and the Chief of Police or acting Chief of Police are hereby authorized to execute such application and any and all other documents relating to this funding grant, including but not limited to any final funding/grant documents, and that the previous execution and filing of said application by the Chief of Police are hereby ratified. Be it further resolved that this matter be referred to the Board of Finance for any necessary action.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Very good. Any comments or questions on this?
Action, through the chair.
Yep.
Chief, do you know what we're doing with the retired vests?
Give them to us.
Ukraine, it asked for.
Well, there's a reason.
We typically dispose of those, and we've also donated some through, for people overseas and stuff like that, so.
That's what I was
yeah.
questioning. We know how it saved Matt, so I
Absolutely.
was just wanting to make sure that
Yep.
was still continuing. Thank you.
Correct.
Yep. I think there was a reach out, and they did get back to them quickly. All right, any other comments or questions? No, this is a resolution, so roll call vote, correct? I'll let you go ahead and do it, Marina.
Olson?
Yes.
Tebow?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes?
Lusitani?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
And Paniotto?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Resolution carries, and we move on to number 11. Marina, you want to read this one for us?
To allow Mayor Jeffrey Caggiano or acting mayor to execute a purchase and sale agreement subject to approval of Corporation Council with SE Middle LLC or its assigns for the sale of Southeast Bristol Business Park property known as Revised Lot Number 8 for $241,719 and refer to Planning Commission for a Connecticut General Statutes 8-24 report and Real Estate Committee for a CGS report 7-163E public hearing.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Great. I think this one is worthy of some discussion. Sebastian will help me if I miss some of this, but typically in our Southeast Business Park, we don't sell the land until there's actually a site plan and owners are moving forward. There is an interesting scenario with where this lot lies, and we've already heard from Mr. Dudko about some other issues, which I'll get into in a second and get back to. But this new revision and this sale is going to allow us to create the two parcels that we have in the business park, 8 and 9, and link them into a larger parcel that's also going to get split into two. And one of the thought process through this is a paved entryway into these kind of landlocked pieces of land. There is a developer that has worked outside of the Southeast Business Park in the lot in between the old Superior Electric and our business park. A very large manufacturer, actually, international, a great project that is independent of the city and the Southeast Business Park. But we're working with Mr. Damaris on this to not only get that project off the ground, but then offer potentially 3 other parcels. I will mention and just talk, and Mr. Dudko, I don't want to ignore your comments, but all of this will have to go through the planning and zoning and land use boards. So any issues of contamination will be addressed as they go through the process before they're building. And there are other reports that have shown in some places that there are not contamination, and that's not the decision of this council to handle that. That goes through our land use boards, and I think what we're looking at is to see if through the motion that came up from Economic and Community Development, if this makes sense for the development of the business park. Sebastian, did I miss anything there?
You covered it pretty well. I think allowing access to that split lot is good for the business park and for those two lots for the future. And as you said, Mr. Dunko, we're not ignoring your comments. I know you've come before the inland wetlands before. We're going to do our due diligence with the land. Go ahead.
Thank you. So any other comments or questions from this board? This is our deliberative item, so it's our decision to make.
So just through the mayor, just a little clarification for people who are not familiar with the sale of a piece of commercial property. So if there is contamination, that will be discovered through this process of doing inspections and going through the various boards?
Yes, Mr. Damaris is aware of the conditions that were there. He has access to land records and things of this sort, and we will have to, go through proper site approvals from inland wetlands and planning and zoning before anything is built on any of these lots or anything is done.
Thank you.
That help? Comments or questions? I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's move on to number 12. I'll let you read this, Marina, if you don't mind.
To amend the minutes from the November 10th, 2020 City Council meeting pursuant to the final decision of the Freedom of Information Commission, docket number FIC 2020-0599, dated February 23rd, 2022.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to table item number 12 at the request of the union steward to make additional clarifications.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
The only other further comment I'll make is this is a reminder to everybody here that this were meeting minutes from November 10th, 2020. None of us were at that meeting. I know I see the union steward online. They were not there either. And so I think we're going to take this back under advisement for further discussion, perhaps, and this may come back before us. But again, none of us were in office in November of 2020, so we just have to take it under advisement. That came up to me before. So Cheryl, I appreciate you doing that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 13, if you can read that one for me, Marina.
Approval of parking license agreement between the Bristol Hospital Incorporated and the City of Bristol at 15 Riverside Avenue, beginning June 15th, 2022, for a term of 2 years.
Move. Second.
This is in relation to a lot of things, so I just want to give a little clarity to this. The first one is the farmer's market that I mentioned earlier that's coming up. Bristol Health is being very good in working with us to allow us to do that item. But as we move forward downtown with many moving pieces, there will be a need to have our public be able to park in that lot until we can build our garage and until the other buildings are up and, we create more space down there. So I'm really excited about this one. This was a long time coming, and I don't see anybody from Bristol Health here, but I do want to thank Kurt Barwis and the rest of Bristol Health for working with us on this.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to thank them, too, for the generous offer of $1.
Yeah.
So it's a good deal, and it shows that they're community partners.
Yep. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We're on to number 14.
To approve the 2022-2023 Regional Emergency Medical Services Communication System Agreement with the North Central Connecticut Emergency Medical Services Council, Inc., and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute the agreement.
We have a
So
motion?
moved.
Sebastian, we have a second?
Second.
Andrew? Any comments or question on this one? This one came across late, but this is an annual thing that we do and kind of wrote. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 15.
To approve the education specifications for the Northeast Middle School Building Project Committee located at 530 Stevens Street, Bristol, Connecticut.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Any comments on this one? We do have Board of Education here, if there's any questions or comments. We've seen this before. This is modifications and changes that I think we're aware of. So this has been in the planning stage for a little bit. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 17. Oh, sorry, 16. Jumped. Thank you, Marina.
To approve the conceptual design of the Northeast Middle School for new construction with a total gross square footage of 130,000 square feet and a conceptual estimate of $89,068,962.
So moved. Second.
Any further comments on this? Along the same lines.
To the chair.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
The estimate, is that for the conceptual design?
It's for the building with conceptual design, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the whole project, and I think you were going to ask the question. I'm pretty sure that was $75 million originally, where they thought they were going to be able to preserve the school and add on to it, but this is a total rebuild now. And we do have all the right players in the room if we have further questions on that.
Nope. I'm good, thank you.
It's an increase of 14 million.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could we get a brief update on what is the driver? Is it materials? Is it, or
Tim?
do we know?
Yeah, we'll bring Tim up to the microphone. And,
Probably.
well, I think Tim's the best to handle this one. Thank you, Tim.
Tim?
Good to see you. I don't think we've seen you in a while.
Yeah, nice to see everybody. We've been working real hard on getting these plans together to go to the state. This is the last piece we have to do. We have been seeing huge escalation on all of our projects. The numbers simply aren't holding anymore. There's two issues that we've really been seeing, and I was just talking to Eric Carlson about his jobs and some of the work he's been doing. Supply chain issues, number one. We have huge escalation numbers, the highest I've ever seen in probably 35 years. So those are the two things that are driving that. Our construction managers made us aware of that. The architects made us aware of that. We stopped, we were at 75.4. We stopped the process, came back through the city to get the approved numbers. Board of Ed has been working real hard on this to get the numbers together for this. It's been approved through them too. So this is our last hurdle for our state submission to for the paperwork.
Okay. I have a question, Tim. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Cheryl.
Do you know how much of a contingency there is on the project?
Yeah, right now we're carrying 10% for design contingency and 5% for construction contingency.
Thank you.
That's typical, though, right? So
Yes, at this time it is. It changes, goes down as we get better documentation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tim. I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And the last one on Northeast Middle School. I'll go ahead and let you read it, Marina. 17.
To authorize the Bristol Board of Education to apply to the Commissioner of Administrative Services and to accept or reject a grant for the Northeast Middle School Building Project located at 530 Stevens Street, Bristol, Connecticut.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
I think I got Sebastian on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're on to our executive sessions. For those that are new in the Board of Ed here, we will go up to the third floor conference room. I didn't get permission before, but that's where we always did it. So we're going to ask for forgiveness if not. And Ed, can you tell us who's going to come into executive sessions with us? This is 18, 19, and 20.
Mr. Mayor. It'll be the lawyers from our office on the first two items and the third item. And on the third item, the personnel director will join us. So maybe we could take up the third item first so the personnel director can.
Yep, so then I will entertain a motion to take number 20 first in our executive session. I don't know if we officially have to do that, but let's do that.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're in executive session. So, no votes were taken. I will entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good, and I think we have a motion.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the State of Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, number 2130079, settlement agreement between the city and Janet Little, to refer the matter to Corporation Counsel and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any necessary documents to effectuate the same.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Motion carries. I think we have a second motion.
We do. I hereby move that the City of Bristol accept the sum of $25,000 from Malone and McBroom Incorporated, now merged with SLR, in full settlement of any rights or claims that the city may have as it relates to the design, permitting, bidding, and construction administration of the 2 synthetic turf athletic fields at Bristol's 2 public high schools. I further move that the mayor, acting mayor, corporation counsel, or assistant corporation counsel can be authorized to execute any necessary documents to effectuate this settlement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion to adjourn?
Moved. So moved.
Third.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.